All right, today's date is February the 3rd, 2018. I wanted to throw together a quick little video on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a very, very interesting cryptocurrency because it is very, very heavily traded, and it's interesting how this thing obeys proper technical analysis very, very well. So I wanted to touch on this because we've had people, as price has been coming down into this 10,000 level, I've been seeing people say, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, which is very fascinating to me because as a chartist, this is not a buy Bitcoin. This is not a buy Bitcoin. This is absolutely not a buy Bitcoin at 10,000. If anything, this has been a sell, sell, sell. And so I wanted to go over this. I did mention this to my premium group. We talk about Bitcoin every single week. And we go over what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. But I wanted to share this little video with everybody so you guys can see this is a very, very common pattern that sets up all the time in both the cryptocurrency and the currency market. Anytime I see this pattern, I get very excited because it almost always works without fail. So I kind of want to touch on this a little bit. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of free insight to some of the ways that I trade here. But Bitcoin chart, what we've been seeing, let me zoom out just a little bit here. As you can see, we are very much in a downtrend. So while sometimes I will take reversals, they have to be at solid, and I do mean solid levels. The timing has to be right. The momentum has to be right. Everything has to be right for me to want to take these kind of trades if it is going to be a reversal in a downtrend. But not really seeing any kind of levels like that in Bitcoin, so I'm not really looking to buy any Bitcoin. But what I'm seeing here is a powerful breakdown pattern. Again, the trend is down, so it is best to go with the trend when possible. So the setup that I saw on this in the last few days is as follows. You can see I've got my little trend line right here, and you can see price came just blowing through like all this support. In fact, let me draw this line right here. There was a bit of support right here. Notice what happened. We came down here again, came down here. We kept hitting it over and over and over. Anytime you have price hitting the same trend line, same area of support, resistance, moving averages over and over again, typically what's going to happen is this thing is going to break. And notice what happened here. You have a high here, a higher high here, higher high here, and then all of a sudden you're making lower lows, and then you're getting crushed between this trend line and this coral. Things are getting very tight. So when I saw this, I said, this looks like this is going to break down. In fact, one of the guys in my premium group, he actually shorted here and made quite a bit of money. That was awesome to see. But what happened after we broke down the support region right here is we came tumbling down to the EMAs. And once we got down to the EMAs, it was no shock at all to me to watch this thing bounce. Where did we come up to? We came up to this. I could probably draw it out a little further, to be honest. We came up to this trend line right here. Right here is the top of it, and then you can see we hit it here, hit it here, hit it here, hit it here. This was a fake out. Ignore this when you're drawing your trend lines. There will at times be fake outs on a trend line. Don't get caught up by them. Don't say, hey, I'm going to draw my trend line like this. That is not correct. This is the proper way to do it because this is where you're getting the most hits of your trend line. But anyways, price is getting squeezed between this trend line and between coral. Price broke down. So where did it come up to? It came up to this trend line once again, and it was also quite a bit of broken support, and you had your major moving average here as well. So what did it do? It came down to the EMAs again. If that wasn't enough, it came down, or it came up here, made a little bit of a bounce, consolidated here, came down to the EMAs again. This was the first time. This was the second time. This was the third time. And then we had another bounce. Where did it go? Back to this trend line. And then we came down once again. So again, over here you hit it one time, two times, three times, four times. Broke down on the fifth time. Normally, a level, a trend line, a moving average is going to break the fourth or at most the fifth time. I have seen some go 6 and 7, but typically 4 to 5 is the magical number here. So what has happened here? We came down one time, two times, three times, four times. So at this point, when you come down into the support region after four times, you should not be getting on Facebook. saying I'm going to type up a status that says, hey, everybody buy Bitcoin, because this is absolutely not a buy. We keep hitting the same level over and over again. And again, you are making lower lows and lower highs, and we are not breaking this trend line. Until this trend line is broken, I am absolutely bearish on Bitcoin. Once this is taken out of the way, then I will begin to consider being long Bitcoin or being long biased. Until that happens, I am by no means interested, because this trend line has held up from the top. This was 19,500. This trend line has held up, except for this fake out, which again, we're ignoring. This has held up since then. So until this trend line is broken, this is a sell. This is not a buy. So it's very dangerous to be buying down here. I don't understand people that are getting on Facebook saying buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, because this is not a buy until we break this. So the smart thing to do is wait this out, because this thing could hold up for another $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. We don't know. I mean, this thing could go back to $3,000 for all we know. I mean, that'd be pretty extreme, but it is possible. So you have to be very careful. Until this trend line is broken, I am by no means interested. But back to the setup. This is our support region. We hit it here. We hit it here again, we hit it here again, and we hit it here again. Now, when I'm drawing support and resistance, I draw my areas in levels. So we have, of these three hits, you have this level here, down into this level right here. And there's a wick here, a bit of a fake out, and then we immediately reverse. I ignore this fake out because, again, you hit wherever you see the most hits of a support or resistance, this or a trend line for that matter, that's where you want to draw your support, resistance / trend lines. So you have this level right here. Actually, I could probably draw a line for you right there. You have that level right there. You have this candle wick low right here. You have a wick low here. You have a wick low here. You have a candle low right here. Well, this candle wick low. You have another wick right here. So to me, this is going to be the area of support to watch. And if you are a chartist, you should know by now that anytime you come down into a support or resistance level, this is the key right here to this breakdown. Anytime you come down into a level repeated times, and after the fourth or fifth time, you are just sitting at support in this case. This means there is no buyers coming into the market. There is a war between buyers and sellers. Typically, when you come down into a support region, you should begin to bounce. The fact that we came down here, sat here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candles in a row, there's a war going on, and it does not take 10 candles to create a bottom. When I saw 10 candles of sideways action after being hit 4 times, making lower swing lows, this is what you call a descending triangle pattern. These will usually break down. And again, like I said, the key is we were just sitting at support, finding absolutely no buyers. Usually after about 8 bars, if I see this of 8 bars of sideways consolidation where there's been no considerable buying action whatsoever, this is a dead sign of a breakout or breakdown. So when I saw this, I said, this is getting ready to break down. I had multiple people actually messaging me, and I told them I'd make this video for them. So this is for you. But what I told them was this. When we came down into support, it was around these bars right here, they asked me, like, what do you think Bitcoin is going to do? And I said, well, in my opinion, we have a very limited amount of time for this thing to bounce. If this does not bounce very soon, it's going to fall apart. Why did I say that? Again, because we've hit this thing 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and we were going sideways. So if this continues to go sideways, this is where it's going to break down. Because again, there's no buyers coming in, and usually after about 8 to 10 bars of this action right here, after multiple hits, this is where it's going to fail. So that's why I said, hey, we have a very limited time for this thing to push up. And if it doesn't push up very soon, it's going to collapse. The only reason I said that was because every now and then you're going to get a descending triangle pattern that fails, which means it will pop up. And typically when those do fail, the reversal is very dramatic. Remember that patterns that fail often reverse in dramatic ways. So you have to watch those. But After I saw 8, 10 candles, I said, you know what, this is done. This is done. So, but this thing totally collapsed. As you can see, we went from 10,000 all the way down to 78.91. Actually, no, wait a minute. We dropped all the way down to 76. So we basically went $2,500. This is a 25% drop in a matter of about, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 32 hours. So you're talking about a day and a half, 25% drop on Bitcoin. That's a hellacious amount of pips. And if you shorted here, you made a tremendous amount of money. Very awesome reward to risk, because again, this shouldn't be going above Coral and this should not be going above this trend line. So your risk was very limited here, and then your reward was pretty nice. So what is happening now is we are slowly migrating back up into this area of broken support, and you've got your Coral here creeping down, you've got your trend line here creeping down. So would not surprise me if we came up here and collapsed again. I know a lot of traders will trade those areas and say, hey, I'm going to short here. That to me isn't good enough. I see a lot of those areas fail. For me to take a trade, I need at least 80 to 90% success rate, because I get very upset if more than 80% of my trades are failing. So very cautious on my trades. But I mean, if it does take a tremendous amount of time up here, this might be a good short, but probably not something I'm going to short again. This to me was the area to short. So that was definitely something that I was watching. But I wanted to share that video today because, again, there is tremendous amount of confluence down here, and there's much to say about levels that are being hit repeatedly. I mean, over and over and over. If it's getting hit all the time, I mean, that's the market screaming something at you, especially when you're not finding any buyers down here at all. So please be wise about your Bitcoin investments, and just be careful when you're trading these things, because Bitcoin is very volatile, and it's very clear that we are very much in a downtrend right now. Again, here's a low, here's a low, here's a low, high, 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 high. And this thing is just continuing to fall apart. So again, I am by no means interested in longs on this at this point. I did mention to my group, though, that where's it at? Right down here. I did mention to them that this was a potential area where price action could try to bottom out or see some kind of bounce right around this 7,000 to 7,500 level, because of my lower band down here, which access tremendous support. So did expect some kind of bounce down there, and it's nice that we're seeing that we're gone about $1,500 right now. Is that enough for me to take a buy down here? No, it is not enough to take a buy. You just don't take a buy or a sell based off of one thing. You need confluence, confluence, confluence. So please make sure that you are not just haphazardly taking trades. Wait for the market to come to you. Wait for the setups to come to you. Make sure the market is screaming buy or sell, and then you can get into your trades. I always tell people this is very key. Please pay very close attention to this. As a new trader, if you are failing right now in trading, or if you are a new trader, the first thing that you need to do is build confidence. Because if you are not a confident trader, what's going to happen here is you are going to get into a trade like this, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, we just broke down. Let me take my profits because I'm afraid of letting this run. That's what a person who is not a confident trader is going to do. A confident trader is going to say, this is awesome support. I've seen this trade over and over and again, and this thing should continue much lower. So that person is going to let their profits run much further, so they're going to make a lot more money. How do you build confidence? By being right. So make sure you are sticking to the very best setups. I can remember when my confidence in my trading changed. I was sticking to only the very best setups. So this took a while. 40 trades in a row I won. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've never seen anybody else do that. So, I mean, it sounds pretty outlandish, but it actually happened. And I do have the not the MyFX book. I put it up on Forex Factory. I do have the, I can't remember what it's called up there. There's like a little widget that tracks everything like MyFX book, but what it does, it copies all of the trades off of your MT4 and posts it up there without showing all your personal information. So I can absolutely prove it. But the point is, once I had 40 in a row, my confidence went through the roof. I felt unstoppable. What you have to be careful though is once you get to those areas in your trading, you become too confident, and then you start taking less than quality trades, and that's where you lose. But I made trade after trade after trade after trade that was a winner, so I become very, very confident, and that was really when my trading made a massive change. So it made me realize that confidence is a very, very big part of your trading. So please, if you are a struggling trader or a new trader, take few setups. Take only the ones that are screaming. If you look at a chart and you say to yourself, gosh, I don't know, well, guess what? You shouldn't be taking the trade. So please make sure you're working on just taking the very best setups. Every person that I mentor tells me the same thing. I was not profitable until I stopped taking so many dang trades and focused on just the best ones. That's just how it is. I've only met 1 or 2 traders in 14 years that take a boatload, maybe 3, a boatload of trades and end up being consistently profitable. It is very, and I do mean very, hard to do. So if you're a new trader, make sure you're sticking to the very best setups. Don't go crazy about your trading. Don't think you need to be in a trade all the time. Right now, my accounts are basically flat. I'm waiting on the market to make the next big setup. I made hundreds of pips on the odd trade last week, and I am fine with that. I don't need to be in 5 trades at a time. If my account is flat and I'm in nothing, that makes me very happy. Because I know that a really nice trade is coming, and that is okay with me. I don't need a million trades on at a time. So please stick to the best setups like this. Make sure you're confident in your trading. Those are 2 of the biggest reasons why beginning and new traders fail. So again, don't forget that. And make sure you're watching for setups like this. You're going to be very shocked at how often they work out exactly how you want them to. And of course, if you ever have any other questions, be sure to try to get in touch with me. So I am on Facebook, and I've got a website too. And so I'm sure it won't be too hard to find that. Just got to use Google. So guys, have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.